Hey there everyone, this is Raquel. We're doing the Patreon thing. Before I go ahead with anything, I got like a zillion questions to go through today, so I'm gonna try not to do this too much, but I just want to tell y'all to remember that next Sunday there will not be a Patreon video next week, basically, because my entire being will be consumed by the hellish flames of Evo. Um, Basically, consider that as part of my vacation. The only thing running throughout my vacation is Megalex 2, mostly to the fact that I don't want to pronounce that more than it has to, because there's already enough content. So yeah, so tomorrow, next week, there won't be a Patreon video, however, so like, if you want to extend your questions over 2 weeks or something, go ahead. I don't really have anything planned. I might do like a tiny thing maybe at some point, but even, like, I can't guarantee anything. So, just a heads up so there's no surprises. Hello, y'all! How's it going? So, let's just get this going on the Gone. Micklefire's all... Acronyms confuse me sometimes. Finnish words with French pronouncement is an interesting thing. Q. Are there any aspects of modern popular culture that you find disturbing and or worrisome? So, I don't know, like a lot of media in the 90s, like a lot of it was very all like, oh man, the corporations, like, they're gonna control us because they're going to use the government to spy on us and get all our information, and, there's not going to be any freedom anymore, and we're all going to, be clones of corporations, and... Except then, in this modern age of, of public proliferation of Twitter and Facebook and all that, you now realize that in the real world, people don't need to be spied on. People are super content to just go ahead and unveil all their information to the entire world without even needing to be prompted. Like, I have seen non-ironic posts of people on Twitter posting images of a new credit card they got without masking any of the numbers or like expiration dates or their name or anything. Like, sure, you don't get the magical numbers in the back, but I mean, someone who really wants to use that card is gonna find a way. And that is scary. The fact that's genuinely scary and worrisome, yes, that people are more than happy to give away that kind of info. Like, I'm sure this might sound old man Raukau with all his, although technically I'm borderline millennium, apparently, like, this is really confusing. But, like, it makes me feel kind of like, old man style there, but it's just, like, it's so blatant. Like, I don't know, it scares me. And that's where we're going, and as we go forward, I mean, basically at some point, yeah, corporation and governments are going to know everything they want to know about us, and they won't really have to do anything about it. We'll give them the information. I mean, it's not a bad thing per se, I guess, but I mean, like, people don't seem to be aware they're going to be exploited. I mean, and again, like, the famous phrase about how Aristotle was all like, oh man, the young'uns today, back in ancient Greek, they don't respect their elders and play the mayonnaise. But I mean, it's just that now it's so overt, I guess, It's kind of so I guess people were always like that. It's just that now that I realize the amount of which they are like that right now, it kind of stresses me out. Luckily, I kind of tune it out from my day-to-day living, because otherwise, I don't know, I think I'd had a consumption or something. But, yeah, so an easy answer for me. And I'm aware it's a complex issue. Ziptozal, since you mentioned fighting games, what is the most complicated special move you managed to pull off? Also, I'm guessing you use a controller as well for those, right? Is there anyone that uses the keyboard for fighting games, or is it just me? Technically, I prefer to use an actual, like, joystick board. Like, I had a Hori stick for the Xbox 360 that I use. If you just mean complicated special move I managed to pull off, like, if you just mean once, like, name it, Geese's Raves, like, with the pretzel and everything, the two special throws of Ivy and Soul Calibur, I would sit down in practice mode and just try and hammer them out. If you mean an actual play, like during a match and pull a thing on purpose, maybe Lele's Tenhanai, like the big weight thing with all the spike balls. That's probably the most complicated one. Let's give a bit of context for peeps here. So this here is the input for the Deadly Rave. I changed this from move to move. This is Capcom versus SNK2, which is the context in which I would have used it. It's really more of like a tiny combo. Jab, jab, short, short, strong. Like it doesn't seem that bad. It's just, I know, jab, jab, short, short, then you go 1, 1, 1, 1, quarter circle forward, back, quarter circle forward, no, it's just quarter circle back in fierce. And I was also thinking of the Raging Storm, called the Pretzel. This basically translates to down, back, half circle forward, back, down, forward, punch. In other words, you put, like if you imagine your controller as the numpad, start with 1, then you go to 6, 3, 2, 1, 4, then you do 3, and then punch, and you do the punch with the 3. Called the Pretzel, because that's kind of like what you're drawing with the joystick. Super hard to do, it's pure practice, really. Although Ivy is British, she pronounces imbecile and futile the American way. That's what I was looking for, the input for Summon Suffering. Down, forward. You slide from down, forward, up, back, forward, down, forward, down, back, then A and B at the same time. It's just like complete nonsense. And this is what I was talking about for Lele, which was less complicated than I thought it was. Low punch, well, low kick, high kick, medium punch, medium punch. It's just, again, it's not complicated to do, per se, but it's a weird, unconventional motion. Also press up at the end. 8 means up. Remember, like, think on a numpad. So, it's just like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, like, in your mind, because it's not how you normally actually do a move, but yeah. I forgot where we're going with this, but this has been me looking around the internet for 20 minutes. Kenika's all to the guy! And or girl asking for splitting the Let's Cortex series further for a convenient mobile phone experience. Trademark! I sometimes also listen... I'm gonna repeat that one. I sometimes also listen to podcasts on the go with my phone, and the app I use... Jet Audio Basic remembers exactly where you stopped listening. You could try that. That's not a question, but I kept it in here for informational purposes. So if you're way into these videos or the Lex Cortex and they're just too long, Jet Audio Basic. Put that on your phone and then forget it's there. Fariel Zal, why were you interested in a Palutena amiibo in particular? And why do you always have random.org open in your browser? Palutena is oddly complicated for a character compared to the rest of the Mario people getting amiiboed, and she has the exact amount of complicatedness to her design that I find interesting. Compared to everyone else who just kind of like looks more like a toy, I guess. I don't know, I don't really have much of an explanation more than that. And I just thought her design is legitimately kind of neat. Again, due to its like really weird complexity and asymmetry, which you just do not see with the rest of the character, the rest of the Nintendo character all that much, except, you know, the fallen... That's kind of Fallen Angel is not a Nintendo series. Fire Emblem characters, they kind of do have that complexity, but they're just too generic, weird, sloppy, like too busy. And I mean, at that point, I think it's really more a matter of taste, maybe, because maybe they're not that bad, but just in my mind, they just do not look that appealing. I don't know. And also, I think Palutena is super fun to play as in the game, even she's not super used, but I think she's super fun. So. Really not much more than that, and the reason why random.org is open in my browser is because that is how I select the arts I'm going to be drawing then. They got a big list, and, you know, as I said, I don't want to do them in the order I got them, because give everyone a chance. So I got a big list, and I just kind of like go, okay, and I put them in random.org. and I go from there, and I choose it through the power of random distribution and atmospheric wagajoos. That is what random.org uses for its randomization. I end up with a weird thingy that's kind of slowly getting into shape here in front of your eyeballs, assuming that you watch this video at 10x speed. Connoroo is all. Connoroo! And also, he asks a question. Any dang way. Hey there, everyone. This is an owl cow using a capital R. Ask him if there has ever been a random quote, idea, or sentence salad you made while playing a game that just left you hysterical due to the complete absurdity of it. Hysterical, very rarely, if any. Puzzled, yes. Also, I'd like to call upon my evil but good-intentioned Patreon powers to have you open this link. The link says http://frankerfazy.com/WAN. Alright, let's do that. I'm currently copying. Now I'm gonna paste. Oh, see, that's the address. You can also add http flash. Oh, hey, it's Momiji. Also, my recording is not quite big enough, so you can see kind of part of it. So it's Momiji, and you gotta poke the Momiji, and she will be okay. Although you can see the M is flipped because her fang changes. It changes on her mouth. Also, it seems to be looping. Oh no! Whoops! I've accidentally clicked a button. Look at what you're making me do, Connoroo. Look at what you're making me do! Reading Rena Turnip's question, how dare you! So, Rena Turnip's also, we all know you're into fighting game community stuff, and you've even named some peeps by name. Are you very familiar with James Chen and Ultra David? AKA, sometimes called Ultra Chen, sometimes. Are you a very big fan? There are times when you'll make a joke, or David will make a joke or make a womp-womp noise, and it reminds me way too much of the other. Like, other than your voices, you two could be the same person at times. It always makes me wonder if one of you two is secretly a huge fan of the other. Also, what are... Okay, well, I'm just gonna stop there. I know of him. I wouldn't call myself a big fan. He does a good enough job. Like, they do as a team. You know, they cover the bases. They get kind of cringeworthy if you know a lot about the game they're commenting sometimes, but they have a nice energy. But I mean, they're no yipes. Like, and that's probably not fair to say as a comparison, but no, they're no yipes. But they're good. Also, what are your top 5 Patreon videos that you have released? Honestly, like, I cannot answer that question because they are all meld together in a big, like, bowl of caramel in my head. It's like there's no start and beginning to any of them. Both are the exact same thing. Also, what are your top 5 words of this question? Really? Top 5. You, do, it, times, and 8, which I'm going to get to later. Also, do you have much interest in competitive, misspelled, melee as a spectator? Honestly, melee can be amazing to watch. And then it becomes Fox Mirrors, and it's not as interesting to watch. Big fan of Lunchbox, though. I like his style. Seeing Smash return to EVO a couple of years ago was super exciting, and the execution insight of the best melee players is amazing and makes some other fighting games look tame in comparison. I don't know if you're the sort to skip out on some EVO top 8s and only watch others, but since I know you like Smash in general, I thought yes. And no, I watch everything. I even sat through that terrible Injustice top 8 2 years ago. It was not enjoyable. But, you know, it could have been. It was the top. Killer Instinct last year kind of had the same effect. Hoping it's better this year. Telemon, Zal, do you think traditional Chinese medicine are other alternatives to Western medicine? Oh, what do you think of? I know it brings comfort to people. However, some people are like, hey, dude, you got cancer, but if you get chemo, you might, feel good for 10 years and, get an okay quality of life. And they're like, some people are like, no, I don't want it. Instead, I'm gonna paint my body with tea, and I will live for 200 years. Like, I'm exaggerating, but some people are kind of like sort of that, and to me, it's just tragic. Like, science can be proven a bit more than traditional medicine in most aspects. And, I know it's never a good thing to hear that, yo, dude, what you got is uncurable, yo, and it's sad, and our natural response will be to become somewhat desperate in finding a solution where none is. It's just that some people literally are hurting themselves, and that's to me, is sad. But, I mean, otherwise, there's nothing wrong with it until you're physically hurting yourself. I guess, out of perhaps ignorance or misplaced aspirations. Nico Ishizal, can we make you play something as BGM? Patreon videos? If so, play this. A link. What do you think of Mega Man Sprite comic? Those are unrelated as questions, and I don't know, Sprite comics, when I was younger, I did watch some Sprite comics, like, 8-bit theater, but wouldn't call myself like a super fan of anything or anything either. Like, they exist, they're a media like any other. Oh hey, this song. Yeah, sure, I'll keep it on for the time that the song lasts. You're gonna hear that song, or a part of it, eventually, in a video series I'm currently playing. What could that mean? But yeah, yeah, Sprite comics exist. They're a medium like any other. Really, if you can make something work with the art and or have decent writing, it'll be good regardless of the medium you're using. And if you're really good, then you will be using the medium you are using, and it's gonna be that much better. But that's true for like anything. Like if you were making comic using newspaper clippings or like serials that you're taping to cardboard. Same idea, really. If the demo siblings were ever to be voice acted, do you have any preconceived exceptions? I'm assuming you mean expectations on how Demo and Iris might sound. Not really. I don't really have any preconceived notions of how they would sound. I don't think. Like they're just. I've never really thought of how their voice would sound, so. It's a case where if I were to hear it, I'm pretty sure I would know, like, kind of like if in my head it fit or not, but if you're asking me to be any descriptive at all, you are going to be disappointed, because not really. Pizza Pony is here with gardens full of questions again. I'm just gonna scroll some stuff here. Questions here! 1! What was your introduction to Toho? How did you first hear of it? What was the first one you played? Did you play it blind? Have you been able to, once you see normal mode or better, any of them? Like that, you say that's one question, but there's like 35 of them in there. Introduction to Toho, it's an old story that I'm gonna summarize real quick. Once upon a time, I was super into Mugen, and I got this character, which was this horned lady, that I thought, that took up was like giant at the same time, and I thought she was neat. And I thought she was an original character. And later I saw a vampire lady, and I thought, oh, okay, it must be by the same guy. Has this really nice, clean style, looks pretty cool, and throws these laser swords everywhere. And only a little bit later did I realize that they came from an actual series called Toho. And fart, eventually I played Super Marissa World, which is where the mass majority of my knowledge actually comes from. First one I played was the Fighters, because of that, and I've played 6, 7, and 8, and I did play them in normal, but I didn't want CC, because I wasn't trying to beat them, I wasn't making it a thing to beat them, it was just to see what they were about. And it wasn't like a world-ending experience or anything. 2, what are your thoughts on butts? They're pretty useful. Have you ever drawn butts before? Yeah. 3, do you have any dreams or parts of dreams from your childhood that you remember very clearly, and will you be able to remember for the rest of your life? Not really. I have told before that I have a lot of trouble remembering my dream to any level, and this has always been true. 4, for my next tell you to do a thing and you do it request. Next time you see Ghost of Christmas Ghost, give her a big hug. That would be really awkward, and I can just pretend to do it since none of you will be around, so sure! Wink wink! 5, since I don't think anyone has mentioned it to you yet, Star Tropics and Nintendo Hard during middle game, so look forward to that! I already am. Fusion Warrior, what color would Demo turn if she ate the 7 Chaos Emeralds? Isn't it normally gold? I'm not sure why the rules will be different with her. Francie Dimitrovsky, whoa. 1, do you have a game that takes you back to a certain time in your life? I know so many GBA games that take me right to a decade ago, and I'm always interested in other people's. I haven't had a nostalgia blast from video games, to be perfectly honest. Because I've always kind of like, okay, not true. Once I played Mario 1, like on an actual legit Nintendo, and yeah, I kind of felt it. Except I could beat the game in like 20 minutes without game overing compared to when I first played it, and it was like a multi-month task. So like you can never, but I think I know what you mean, and yeah, that would kind of do it maybe. I don't know. I think a lot of you have noticed by now that I do not have that much nostalgia for much of anything. I do not define myself by the things that I consume, alas. I know I should do better, but oh well, we all have our sins. 2, Panam Games is here in Canada. How much do you care? I have no idea what that even is. Let's check it out. Panam Games. It's in Toronto. What is that? Gary Fook the Panama launching July for world class persons. I don't know what it's like. Not like Olympics. Like is it just like? Is it like what is it? It's Panama. Like this is not telling me anything. Non-profit charity providing free creative content. No, that's the sponsor. What's why was this here? Oh, okay, but what's Panam? Please tell me what is Panam. No, there's metal. There's a lady eating a metal. It's pretty cool. Oh, sorry, but Panam Games is conflicting with Evo there. That's just not happening. Yeah, I don't know. Like, what is it anything other than athletes stuff? Because I do not have a lot of interest there. Sorry to disappoint. Sports is like, no, I don't want to be all cliche here, but exists. Hooray. Gregory Coca-Cola, within the Mario canon, who is your favorite character besides Mario, assuming that Mario would be my favorite character? Wow, good job. In the mainstream characters, which is a stupid thing to say, it's hard to tell, honestly. Who is... I don't know, like, I don't consider most characters. Like, they are actors serving as NPCs, helpers, or obstacles in a video game. Like, I think it's pretty clear to now that Lore and me are like bananas and ribbons. Like, you don't often see them intertwined all that much. I do not know what to answer you, which was not a thing you would think would be a thing, but yeah, it's, I don't know, like, I don't really care. Bowser's kind of cool, like, you know, surprise, I tend to prefer villains, but, well, I kind of do like Bowser, you know, he has a tough job, he has a big family, or if you're accepting how now canonically all the Koopalings are not his kids, well, you know, we still have this big fan club, this Bowser League of sorts, and you know, all these kids, like, they're basically all like interns and whatnot working under him. Yeah, he has a big job. He has a big kingdom to manage, and he has a really terrible kingdom with like no natural resources, while the Mushroom Kingdom is nearby, all lush and green, and is just bursting with life. Like, it's kind of, he has a raw deal, but he tries to make the most out of it. He's really proactive, He is solution focused. Doesn't dwell on it. He tries to fix things. That is something I can respect compared to all the good guys of Mario, where all hyper reactive. Like, what the hell, man? Yeah. Zio Masada, would you kindly imitate the song that was sung in Filthy Frank's Harry-style prank call video, pretty please? I have no idea what you're talking about. Sapphire Crook, let me ask a better question. Okay, please do, Sapphire Crook. Oh, Cal, would you rather have a self-driving car or a car you can drive that can take over to prevent accidents? If you need some clarification, second car basically stops and parks a car if you get knocked out or almost crash into something, or otherwise doesn't actually go places. I like driving, so I'd rather have the second one, I think. But, I don't need to drive long distances. My answer would change if I was routinely, driving 5 hours, every 2 weeks or something. In that case, I would rather be able to be passive, do something else on a computer or something during the drive. It's all incredibly contextual. But right now, I only drive to, for errands and, get something to eat outside sometimes. And I'd rather just do the drive myself. So... It's contextual. In accordance to my current quality of life and what I typically do, I would go with the second one. Whoopar, if someone already asked about this, or if you think it's too personal to talk about, just feel free to ignore this post entirely, but for curiosity's sake, I just have to ask, what's the story with the composer rage quit the community? It was Dr. Shemp, and I won't go into details because it's really messy. But yeah, he made a lot of music that was used in A2XT, and after he removed himself from the community, he banned me from playing a game that has his music in it. He's gonna make it complicated in the future, so they're working to replace the music he made and all that fun stuff. This was really more a big impact on a Zelda thing, a Zelda Classic thing. But I think they're almost done with the game. Maybe they certainly surmounted it. And a big problem was that because he was a big part of the plot. But I just glanced at what he was plotting in the current one, and I like the current one a lot better. So hey, silver lining. Nico Fire, to preface my question, here's a quote from Hideo Kojima regarding Silent Hills. Honestly, I'm kind of a scaredy cat when it comes to horror movies, so I'm not confident I can do it. At the same time, there's a certain type of horror that only people who are scared of can create, so maybe it's something I can do. With the above in mind, how would you go about making a horror story? I don't know. How would I about to go making any kind of story? It's... You start with a general idea that you think would work in a creepy context. Then you build a world around it without going to too many details, but just any detail to make it work. Get a very clear idea of how you would work out the story in a way to lead to the conclusion that you want, and hash it out, then edit, rewrite what needs to be rewrite, and keep iterating on it. It's like writing any kind of story. It's a developmental process. I'm aware this is not at all the kind of answer you wanted, but I'm not sure exactly what you want me to answer either. I don't know, am I just thinking about this wrong? Xerix, you open your Christmas present on Christmas Eve? You monster. Yeah. That's what we've always done. Amaneshu Niku-chan, can we request pictures? Depends of what. Weimar Sunny. If it's about me, or family, or my friends, or my apartment, or anything personal, it's not gonna happen. But if you want to request a picture of a snail, then I can Google image search for you. I'll do it no problem. Here, I'll give you a preview. Look at that. Let's see, you go here, and you press this thing, and you go snail! Then see, look at that. Oh, what a beautiful snail! Just for you. Look at that. This is your snail now. Savor it until the end of times. Always glad to be of service. Marseille's all... Everybody knows Scott Pilgrim is the strongest fighter in Ontario, but who is the strongest fighter in Quebec? Well, obviously, it is a boxer who wears a wig made out of a mop and sings song. Except he's also a powerful fighter. Like, those are completely different. Then there's another question about Scott Pilgrim for some reason by Mickle Fire. Have you read Scott Pilgrim? If you have, what is your opinion on it? This post is too boring and generic, so here's a thing from Wikipedia. Shing something, I don't know, I can't read really the address because there's a bunch of stuff, so let's just go ahead and open that up. It's a Wikipedia link. That doesn't exist. Sorry, Snail. You were short-lived. The Tomb of Jesus Christ! In Japan, apparently. Okay. Well, yeah. No, after being resurrected, he figured, you know what? Now that my job is done, I can retire. I can travel the world. And he went to Japan. Seems legit. I have not read Scott Pilgrim. I'm aware it is a video game reference comic, basically. And would probably be something that appeals to me. I just never really found the time nor inclination, I guess. I'm always wary of stuff that particularly targets nerds because I hate being pandered to, which is... And then, you know, you get, like, games that specifically pander to my taste. But there's a difference in video games. Yeah, pander to me all you want. Something that I read or I watch, I'm not interested. It might sound conflicting, but to me, in the way I experience things, it makes sense. And I won't hear otherwise. Oh, Philby Pot wants me to read a thing. That opened up a dark gate the first time I read a thing. Bad upon request, powers activate. Could you please read the following poem aloud? Apologies for irregularities in language, as it's originally English and sourced from multiple translators. I'm not sure why you want me to read this poem that I'm not seeing the name of, but okay. Let's go! La route se poursuit toujours, descendant de la porte où elle commença. Maintenant, loin en avant, la route s'étire. Et je la dois suivre si je le puis. La parcourant d'un pied à vide jusqu'à ce qu'elle rejoigne quelques voies plus grandes où se joignent maintes chemins et maintes courses. Et vers quel lieu alors, je ne saurais le dire. La route se poursuit toujours, sous l'arbre vert et sur la pierre, dans l'antre où jamais ne fait jour, par les cours d'eau cherchant la mer, sur la neige à l'hiver semée, parmi les jolies fleurs de juin, sur l'herbe et les chemins pavés, et sous les montagnes d'airain. La route se poursuit toujours, sous les nuages étoilés, mais les pieds là, au carrefour, prennent le chemin du foyer. Ainsi le regard aguerri, à l'horreur des salles de pierre, se pose enfin sur la prairie et les collines familières. La route se poursuit toujours, descendant de la porte où elle commença. Maintenant, loin en avant, s'est poursuivie la route, que d'autres la suivent qui le pourront. Qu'un nouveau voyage il commence. Moi, enfin, les pieds là, vers l'auberge éclairée, je me tournerai, pour trouver mon repos du soir et le sommeil. Derrière le tournant, ils peuvent encore atteindre une nouvelle route ou une porte secrète, et bien que j'ai souvent passé auprès, un jour viendra enfin, où je prendrai les chemins cachés qui courent, à l'ouest de la lune, à l'est du soleil. It doesn't rhyme good, but it's there. This is going way faster than I thought it was going. Got 4 whole questions left. Whoops! Shinoda's all, let's say that one day you wanted to reveal your identity to the world at some point in the future, maybe possibly, and had a sudden change in your shyness, going outside the nest levels, and one of your fans, not saying which one, would have the super advanced technology of phone call making to a convention organizer that normally has successful YouTubers from Quebec do panels at a convention approximately 3-hour drive from your point of origin. Would you consider it? I doubt it'll ever happen, but I'm curious. This is very precise. Are you trying to hint at something, Shinoda, here? Like, are you trying to insinuate something devious? The truth is, I don't know, man. Like, I don't think a convention's the right place for my public outing. Not something general like that, because let's be honest, like, I am super sub-Z, par list, whatever. Although I am technically making a living off of YouTube somehow. I just don't think I have anything to contribute, like, at all. And let's be honest, like, the turnout of Raukal fans, like, there's not that many of y'all, so it would probably be super awkward also in that end, because it's like, hey, look at that, we got this talk, and there's like 3 persons in the audience. Oh boy, it's just I just don't see it happening. And also, I mean, will forever be an introverted person. I recharge by being alone, not by engaging with strangers. This is my lot in life. This is the stone I must carry. I mean, I'm not. Maybe one day it'll happen. Like, never say never is a stupid cliche, but is also true. One day I might have a complete change of mind or something. Like, it could happen, but it's not something I can foresee being a thing in close range. I don't think I've ever met any person that I have met through the internet ever in all my years of using the internet and meeting people. So keep that in mind. Fariel, hey, how strongly do you feel about character balance in fighting games or games in general? The question just occurred to me because fairness, even in video games, subject that I care about more than can possibly be healthy for a single person. Also, friendly pronunciation check. Occur is pronounced like occur, not like a cure. Then I don't know if you're putting V between quotes or making like a happy emoticon, like that's going. Oh man, I can draw stuff to demonstrate things. I never realized this. Wow. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay, really? Okay. Whatever. Yeah, character balance is super important in fighting games, because otherwise you end up in like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, where there's 56 characters and you're gonna see like 10 played seriously. Like, for the sake of variety, both as a player and a spectator, you know, that large roster of character has to find some use. And you don't just see that in fighting games. Like, another example in Hearthstone, which is a card game, there are bits of time where you always see the same classes being played, and it's the same thing. Character balance is extremely important when the entire game is about using that character or class in an effective way. There's nothing to gain from it being unbalanced, really. And honestly, like, a game being blatantly unbalanced is very harmful for the community. Just think of Brawl and how harmful it was that Mem Knight is like head over heels better than everyone. Eventually it was decided to finally ban him from tournaments, but that was a long, arduous process. The community was already killed and damaged by the fact that it took a long process to officially, have him banned and stuff. And yeah, like, there's nothing to gain from having a character blatantly more powerful than everyone else, because it just means that everyone's gonna play it. Like, you can make a case for secret characters, in which case, like, like Akuma in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, where he's not meant to be part of the whole. And as long as there's a very clear demarcation like that, then alright, awesome, sure, okay, whatever. But yeah, I feel very strongly about character balance. It's not a hill I would die on, but I still feel very strong about that. D is all high, but also question, do you have an opinion on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? What would your stand be? Did someone already ask about JoJo? I can't remember. And then, then he followed a bunch of stock trade info. So if you want to go back to the comments of the previous video and read up on that, if you're interested in stock trading, go full Monty. I'm not going to stop you. It's way above my head in terms of technical knowledge. And yeah, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is fun. It's like, that's what it is. It is super fun and stupid in the best way. That's opposing. And, it's great to see a character, an artist, who uses very unusual inspiration. Because a lot of the poses and, character designs from JoJo legit comes from fashion magazines. And it shows in parts, and in some parts it can look kind of awkward, but it gives her a very, very unique visual style. And it's super cool. It's super fun. I don't know enough to know what it takes to be a stan, like what are the limits and capacity. Because, well, I mean, okay, I guess the world is like the time-related one that I'm interested in usually when power-related stuff shows up. So I guess I can't have the world 2. Have the inverted world. The world 2.0 is the internet. Oh no! Accidentally, my stand is just accessing the internet. It is / the best / the worst stand ever. Please, I cannot fight. Well, I guess you can, maybe. It depends. Depends how much you're willing to abstract stuff, I suppose. Why am I even continuing down that trend? Last questions! Mobobo is all! Your LP of Star Tropics, one of my favorite NES games growing up, inspired this question. How much do you think nostalgia factors in on the way we evaluate games and media we watched growing up? Well, like 100%. Are there any games in particular that you love growing up that thing would be bad, terrible if you play them now? As an aside, Star Fox 2 is way better and still holds up as a pretty solid game, in my opinion, though it still pulls some crap from time to time. You say crap on a video. That's pretty shitty. Star Tropics is a video game. No, yeah, like, every time we think about old games of the time, of course we're thinking about it on our brain head, nostalgia land. One of my favorite games growing up was a game called Sky Blazer. And for the Super Nintendo, and I haven't played it in years because I am like 50,000% certain that it will probably not live up to my head spin. I've considered LPing it sometime in the future, maybe as a between Patreon votes or something, maybe, I don't know, but like I really don't want to, because I don't think it's gonna hold up. It's like, it's one of those games that existed that no one actually knows about, and it's just, like, it's oh, I'm afraid. Much like I'm afraid I'm gonna have to repeat y'all that next week there won't be a video like this going on. You're still invited to send questions and whatnot, just expect there to be a bit of a delay before I answer it. And, oh yeah, by the way, there is someone, I guess I didn't know that, but asked that, what, you can do art requests? You can, yeah, see? When you make an art request, I put it in a list! It's like, what? God Emperor, Rao Cow, what's that? Every time before I start to do these, I pull them up, and I take one randomly, and maybe it gets pulled, maybe it doesn't. And more often than not, I start with an idea, then diverge completely to something that's unrecognizable, and yet I still consider it taken. So it's a gamble, but life is a gamble, man. And like most time we gamble, you won't win. And on that positive note, I'll say to y'all laters, sup, fart.